hostel, sports, healthcare. We have a skill development center. Then we have a global collaborations. We have a signed MOU with many universities, reputed universities with the USA. We have a collaboration with the Boston University, signed MOU with the Hungary for the psychology. And then our research, various research projects, policies, research journals, research vision and mission, and so on. So these are just some of the overviews where you can go and see that how excellent work is done in this institution. I will just quickly take you my department because I'm so proud to be part of this team that where I'm working since you probably maybe you can recall that I joined this institution in 2007 when I was working with Stefania in Italy. So myself and Stefania talked about this opportunity of joining here, and then I flew to India for the interview for the same. So I'm taking you to this my favorite place, my favorite department, which really holds us back. So I cannot travel to Italy anymore for 3 to 3 months and so on. But we can send our students, as we have talked earlier, that we can send our students for the projects and so on. So let me take you to the physics and electronics department. That is my department, as you have get into. Our department was established in 1950, and we have a couple of videos which take you the virtual tour of our department. So later on you can see this also. These are the highlights that we have many projects and quality of research. It's not that the work is done on the glasses. Our staff members have a variety of potpourri for research. For example, Dr. Sonik Bhatia present today in this session also, that if we get time, you can interact with him later on. He's a pioneer in research in thin films. Dr. Sangeeta Prasher, she works in the field of polymers. And I think you have also worked on polymers, right? In the EPR and so on. And then Dr. Manmohan Singh, he is a radiation physicist. He is also present. Myself, you know very well. Then Dr. Helene Sixeti, he is a doctor now. Dr. Surbi for the chalcogenide glasses. So these are some of my staff members who are, and these are the various achievements. See, in our research collaboration, you're always there. Italian Agencies of New Technologies, ENEA. So this was just a little bit overall brief glimpses of our heritage, our institution. I really wanted to show you because it's honor for us that you have joined us today. And I wanted to take you, hopefully this COVID situation will be over and then you will be able to visit India and see everything with your own. So before students, I hand over these proceedings to Dr. Alessia. It's honor for me to introduce my very good friend, colleague, and an excellent researcher. That is Dr. Alessia Cemmi. And if I can pronounce it well, I don't know. It's Cemmi.
Yes.
Cemmi. Yes, I remember.
Cemmi.
Yes.
Okay.
I can brush up my Italian with you later on.
Yes.
Molto bello. So, and let me discuss her credentials with you. She has an excellent CV. So as she told in the beginning that she is graduated in chemistry, but from the University of Rome, and master's in nuclear ionizing radiation. Obtained her PhD in material science and engineering. See, we have masters in chemistry also. The students have joined this meeting. They are also present. She worked as a fellow and postdoc since 2000 and permanent researcher in ENEA since 2008. She is heading director of the very good facility, Calliope Gamma Irradiation. I think this facility is providing services to all over the Europe, if I'm not wrong, because I have seen myself the people from CERN, they're coming, detectors are getting tested and so on. Her research activities are focused on gamma radiation effects, evaluation on different materials, crystal glasses, polymers, optical devices, bio-based system, on dosimetric measurements. Your students, yesterday we were talking about the dosimetric measurements. So she is going to tell you a lot about it, that how we have to wear the badge before entering the Calliope facility, right? The coats and the badges. She is involved in the national and international projects and program and held the several collaborations, as I said, that serving almost to the whole of Europe. She is author of more than 70 publications on international journal and 50 communications at the international conferences. It's an honor for me, Alessia, that you have joined KMV virtually. One day you will be able to come here. So over to you. We can stop sharing our screen so that Alessia can get a space for herself.
Okay. Thank you very much for your presentation. And now, okay, I share my screen. Okay. And this one. Okay, so just a moment. Okay. So I start with my presentation, and first of all, I'll give you just a moment. Okay, I'll give you just before an overview of our institution, and I'll describe by also showing you some picture our plant, and then I'll guide you in our virtual visit, and then in the second part of the presentation, I would just to give you an overview of our activities. So. ENEA, as Professor Sharma told before, is the Italian National Agency for New Technologies, Energy and Sustainable Economic Development. And it was established in the 50s, 60s, around this period, with another name, because the current agency was the National Committee for Nuclear Research. And the nuclear field was the focus of this committee for several years. Also, around the 80s, the committee changed the name in ENEA. And the activities also around in the late of 80s and in the 90s was focused not only on nuclear activities, because in Italy is not allowed also now to use nuclear power for energy, for example, but just for the activities at the ENEA was focused just on monitoring of radiation, and the interest was focused now on energy, environment, new technologies. And some years ago, in 2009, ENEA became the Italian National Agency for New Technologies, Energy and Sustainable Economic Development. The field of interest now are very, very, as you can see here, very different and spread in different fields. So starting from renewable sources to biotechnologies and so on, ICT, and of course, nuclear fusion and fission. And we have in Italy 12 research centers and a little bit less than 3,000 employees. And differently from other research institutions also in Italy, ENEA is focused on the connection with the industries. So we perform different activities, but also giving our technological support also for private institutions. And we work, of course, also in research field in the framework of private and public integrated partnership. And as also Professor Sharma told before, there are also several different expertise in our institution. So starting from physics, chemists, and biologists, and so on. And we are organized in different laboratories that work very often together. And just to have an idea, to show you where our research center is, we are in the Casaccia Research Center, and here we have Europe, so Italy is in the southern part, and Rome is around in the center of Italy, as you can see here. Okay, and here in this green dot are the Casaccia Research Center, that is a little bit the north part of Rome, close to a very nice lake too, in the countryside, is around 25 kilometers far from the center of Rome, so it's not very far. There's train and other public transport. And here we have just a map of our plants. So, let's now talk some description about our plant that I'll describe you during this presentation. Here we have a little picture, but then you can see better. And we have a pool type irradiation facility. Here you can see the pool of the plant, and we have a cobalt-60 radioactive source, and this plant is characterized by a very high volume shielded cell that is peculiar for this kind of research plant, and is unique in Italy and also Europe, because it's not an industrial plant but a research plant. It was established around the late of 70s, but in that period just agricultural application was performed for example, for mutation breeding and treatment of products. And since the 80s, the activity was wider and enlarged in different research fields. Just some information about our source, but probably you know, but just to recall some important thing. The cobalt-60 can decay, by beta decay producing nickel, and emitting two different photons with a little bit different energy, but the mean energy of the emitted photon is 1.25 MeV, and so are in the part of the electromagnetic spectrum with the highest energy. For this reason, we have two different very important properties of the gamma rays produced by cobalt-60. The first one is that if you can see here, where are shown the interaction of photon of gamma radiation with matter, depending on the energy of the radiation and the kind of the absorber, the atomic number of the absorber. As you can see here, with the energy of cobalt-60, just compound effect practically occur, so it's very important for us. No pair production, for example, can induce in the material, so the material cannot be transformed in radioactive material after the radiation. And this is very important because in this way we can handle the material immediately after the end of irradiation. Another important characteristic of the radiation, of course, is its penetration power. And if you can see here, I reported the penetration power of alpha, beta, and gamma particles, and the photon can penetrate a thick, very large volume of material, depending on the composition, can be partially absorbed. And for example, as you can see here, just very thick concrete, for example, material or lead material can stop the radiation, this kind of radiation of 60 cobalt. Here I show you just a layout to have an idea of our facility. We have all the building, and this part is characterized by some parts that are very important for us for our visit. We have, for example, this part in green, that is the external labyrinth. So to enter the cell, you have to go by this door and to arrive here. Then the second part that is very important is in yellow, the internal labyrinth, and that is the radiation cell. And then another important part is this that I show you in pink, that is the control room. All this part that you can see here, all around this blue and yellow part, is the bunker of the source, and obviously is the shielding of radiation toward the environment and the external part of the building. And here you can see, then I show you in some videos, we have windows made of lead glass that shield the radiation, that allow to see the radiation cell from the control room. Another information that I want to share with you is that, as probably Professor Sharma remember, before, since 2018, we are a cylindrical rack with 48 cobalt-60 pencil. And here you can see, for example, the images of this source at the bottom of the pool, of course, filled with 8 meters of water, that is the biological shielding of radiation, and with the Cherenkov effect, that is this blue light that you can see here. But some years ago, in this year, we upload new sources at our plant, because the activities was really very low, and we modify also the configuration of the source rack, that now is a plain rack with an active area of around 75 per 41 centimeter, as you can see here. And here I show also, I reported some of the characteristics of the facility before and after this modification. Okay, now I would to focus your attention that now we have practically a dose rate that reach around 10 kilograms per hour, so it's very high. And then now I show you just some pictures, some also equipment, and ancillary equipment that we have in our plant. For example, we have, of course, different movable sample holder, because in our plant, as I describe you later, we can perform several irradiation at the same time due to the large volume of the irradiation cell. Then sometimes we have also to use some rotating platform that is necessary to obtain a uniform distribution of the absorbed dose inside a very big material, for example, in components. And for example, if you want to irradiate at very low dose rate, you can also use two different kind of lead wells that you can see here with different geometry and different characteristics. Other equipment that we have, for example, a remote acquisition touchscreen display control integrated system that allow us, this is the old console of the plant, and integrated there is this new system, and this system allow to control several parameters important during the irradiation. For example, the environmental parameters, so the temperature, humidity, and the airflux. The water contamination that practically is impossible to occur, but because the cobalt source are shielded by a double container of shield, of stainless shield, so it's shielded. And then also the level of the water of the pool, that is very important for the biological screen shielding for the people operating in the plant. This system allows us also to register all the anomalies that can occur, and we are also alerted by email in this case. So it's an improvement security system. Another system that we installed was a single camera monitoring system that have a remote control, so we can use it to record videos or pictures inside the radiation cell, also during the radiation, also during the night, or if the radiation are performed in the dark. And here we have this little robot that bring the camera that we use, for example, to take this picture, and then also one of the videos that I show you. So after this brief presentation, we can start also with our I'll show you 4 videos in particular. The first one is related to the first part of the plant. Then the second one is related to the internal labyrinth and the irradiation cell. The third one on the control room. And the last one is recorded by this video camera, and you can see directly the up and down of the source. So I would start with the first one. I'm not a video maker, but I hope that it's good. I just stop to show something interesting, okay? This is the first part of the labyrinth. And here, yes, this instrument in blue that you can see is to check the contamination of the water.
Wait, Alessia, we cannot see the video playing. Can you please click again?
Okay. Otherwise, okay, I'll try in this other way. Yeah, just a moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe you can click again, or you can play from the system separately.
I'll try.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try again.
Prova.
Yes. Otherwise, I'll take that. Now you can see it.
No.
Okay, okay. I'll do it another way. Okay. This is a normal.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't pick it up from the like.
Yes, just a moment. Videos. Okay. Console external labyrinth. Now you see it.
No, you have to share the screen.
Yes. Just a moment. Okay. Okay, I'll try.
Yeah. Yes, you can play directly from it.
Now
yes,
you can see.
But
okay.
We can see the file, but play it. Play it.
No.
Just double click on it, then it will start playing.
No, because just a moment. Now I'll try again.
She has to share sound from.
Yes, because I have. Let's try in this way.
Yeah, click it. Yeah,
now.
Wait. No, it's not. It might be playing down on your player. Just check on the bottom icons. It's playing somewhere.
Not good now.
We cannot see. Anybody can see, or only I can't see?
No, we are not able to see it.
Okay, just a moment. I'll try again.
You just play it.
Yeah, you just play it.
Just play it, then give a pause, then share it.
Yeah, just maybe right click. Alessia, do the right click.
I'll try again.
Yeah.
Yes. But probably in this way.
Do the right click and play. No. Wait. Do the right click. Right click from your mouse. Yeah, go here. Then on the external right click. No.
Just a moment.
Maybe you have to play it, minimize it, then start sharing the screen.
I try to minimize.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I can
just rewind it.
Okay. So this is the part for the.
No, just rewind it because it started already. Just put this at the beginning.
Okay. Okay. You see?
Yes, I can see the.
Okay. This is the part of the external labyrinth.
Entrance, yes.
Okay, the entrance, yes. And you can see here on the left side the system for the contamination checking of the facility. And this is the part of the water treatment, for example, and for okay, I'll try just, okay, for the treatment of the water pool, that is deionized water. And now this video, I think, is stopping. Yes, and I start with another one. I just want to, okay. Okay, now I'll try. Okay, now is the second part of the visit. This part is the internal labyrinth. As you can see, I stopped just a moment. Here we have, for example, a specific position required for a very, very difficult irradiation to perform because it's for space application. And we have a part of this device that must be completely shielded and another part irradiated, but it at very low dose rate, so it's not very easy to do, but we are working on this. And you follow, yes, the way, the path. And now behind the corner, okay, just a moment, we have the irradiation cell. You can see here. And we have the pool. Okay, I stop just a moment. Here we have the pool and 8 meter height, filled with water. And we use this platform that is better also, you can better also later, to positioning the sample very close to radiation source, so we can reach very, very high dose rate. And now you can see also here different sample holder, as I showed you before. For example, this one that is the same of the picture, and the other one. And also, for example, behind this colleague, we have the LED. And here, for example, we use this position behind this double wall made of LED bricks for the irradiation of electronic components, as I show you later, for at very precise dose rate conditions. We have a very high activity of the source, so we have to shield a lot of position. Here we have one of the LED that you saw before. And here, for example, my colleague are positioning some of the sample. And now, just a moment, you will see better also the platform for the positioning of the source. I'm sorry for the video, but yes, it's handmade with the mobile phone.
No,
okay.
It's excellent. It's really excellent.
Okay. This part is, through this part, the source will be, we pass for the irradiation. Then in another video, you'll see it. And now I'll try also to show you the Cherenkov effect at the bottom of the pool. That is easy to see here. Okay, here you can see our plane rack with the 25 cobalt-60 pencil source, and we have the blue light as, okay, just a moment, okay. We have our source there at the bottom of the pool. Okay, and yes, I think that is practically quite finished. Okay. It's also very, very nice and very shining because of the activity of the source. Now, I show you the other part of the irradiation cell. Here is the name of our facility, the other LED well. And on the ceiling now, just a moment. Okay, you can see this trapdoor that is used when you have to upload the new sources or remove the old one, because through this door, there is, with an overcrave, a specific container, very shielded, and then transport container for the source are moved. Okay, and yes, so okay. And here you can see also on the ceiling a blue rail that was very, very old, and it was used for the irradiation of agricultural products in the 60s. So it's very, very old, but we don't use it now. But we use this other rail, the gray rail, and here for the camera that I showed you before. Here, for example, you can see the robot remotely controlled camera, as you saw also in the picture. You see is 22 meters long, the wave. Okay, and so this is the second videos. And now I show you the third one. And just a moment, because it's there. Okay, and this is about the control room. Here is my colleague, Ilaria, that are working and to show also our screen system that is very easy to use and very useful for us with all the control of the radiation, the recording of the movement of the source. And now, okay, here you can see the yellow windows that I described you before that allow to see the radiation cell from the control room. Okay, and the last video is, just a moment, is okay, just a moment, I is in another field. Okay, do you see it?
No, not yet. No. You have to share the screen. You have to share the screen.
Yes, yes, just a moment again. Yes, I forgot. Okay. Now, yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, yes. Now, okay, I start again. And this is recorded by the remotely controlled camera, video camera. And now, except from the ceiling, of course. And you can see now the up and down of the source by an inside cell view, just with this remote camera, of course. Okay, okay, you can see here the rack that is quite in the irradiation position. And in this case, you can see that all the irradiation cell is irradiated. So you can position the sample in any position that you need. And now we have just show how it works, because due to the high level of activity and the radiation of the source, now this electronic instrument can be damaged, so we use it just for some short period. Okay, so I share the other again. Okay, just a moment. I share the presentation now. Okay. Do you see the presentation now?
Yes, yes, we can see.
Okay, okay. So we can continue now. And just a moment also here. Okay. And as you can, from what I described you, of course you can know that now it's possible to irradiate in our plant a very different dose rate at the same time. Also perform irradiation at different atmosphere and different temperature condition, because, for example, we have also some glow bag to use filled with inert gases, or some system to irradiate in vacuum, for example. We have also the possibility to perform the irradiation and follow online remotely the acquisition of the data, and also with other colleagues, since we have changed the configuration of the rack, we are also again simulating the radiation field inside the cell with FLUCA and MCMP code, and we are also trying also to define and to simulate the absorbed dose inside specific object that we want to irradiate. And we can also release and issue irradiation and dosimetric certification. And For this reason, you can imagine that since, yes, of course we irradiate, but we are interested also in the modification induced by radiation on different materials. This aspect is very important, and we have two different purposes usually. The first one is here represented, for example, consists in the processing of material. So I mean to use gamma radiation to obtain something, for example, to obtain polymerization, sterilization, or food irradiation, for example. The second part of the activities is very important for us and regard the study of the material that during their life have to be exposed to a hostile radiation environment. So, for example, space or nuclear plant. So it's very important to study their radiation hardness, for example, so their lifetime also prevision and the reliability, of course. So, as you can imagine, the activity strictly related to the irradiation processes, so performed in our irradiation cell, and the characterization that we can obtain by different techniques in our laboratory are strictly related. And for this reason, our facility is formed by the irradiation plant and the laboratory. And in particular, we have two different kinds of laboratory together in the same building. The first one is a dosimetric laboratory. This is very, very important for us because very often we have to know very well with extremely precision measurement, which is the dose rate in a particular position of the plant or in particular part of an object, a system that we are irradiating. We have a different dosimetric method that can be used, a frequency dosimeter that is an absolute dosimeter that is calibrated once a year at our Italian National Metrology Institution, and other secondary dosimetric system that probably you know, and they are used depending on the on the characteristic of the position and the condition of the radiation. Then we have also a characterization laboratory. In particular, we have several optical and spectroscopic techniques that we can use. For example, spectrophotometer in UV and infrared range. Sorry. Then we have a luminescence, photoluminescence measurements. And also the electron spin resonance spectroscopy measurement we can perform that is specific for the free radicals that are usually induced by radiation. So it's very important and is used in different kinds of matrices. And then as you can see here, we have also the possibility to perform accelerating aging tests on different kind of material and a very different condition, very low and high temperature, different kind of humidity, and we have also the possibility to use a UV lamp to perform a specific accelerating aging test. So now let's start with our activities. In particular, we have two different fields in which we are involved, the qualification test and the experimental research. Regarding the first part of the qualification test, in particular, we can qualify following the specific regulation and standards, material for nuclear application. As you can see here, for example, here we performed the radiation usually the dose around the megagrays for the matrices, concrete matrices used for the storage of nuclear wastes or used in hostile environments, such as, for example, a particular fusion reactor or a nuclear reactor. Another application for fusion, for example, regard the ITER, that probably you know, of course, that is the International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor Project, and this reactor will be realized in the next tens of years in France. And also we worked a lot on this field, also for fusion for energy project. And for example, we tested different kind of materials, as you can see here, optical components, engine, a piezo motor for the inspection, used for a system for the inspection of the ITER cell and so on, and also scintillator of different kinds, for example, plastic scintillator, diamond scintillator, and so on. Other very important application is the qualification of all electronic components and devices to be used especially in space, but also for high energy physics applications. And as you know, in space we have a lot of kind of radiation, and in particular gamma rays induce some problem about ionization of these kind of systems. So the standard from the European Space Agency and military standard from USA ask for the qualification of this kind of material that have to be used in space for the, in part, specifically for the total ionizing dose test. And about this aspect, our plant, together with some other plant of ENEA, is suggested for the Italian Space Agency and the European Space Agencies for the qualification in space, for space, of different materials. So we are part of this ASIF program. Regarding the experimental research, of course, they are performed in the framework usually of different national and international projects, and in collaboration with, of course, industries and the research institution. And a great part of the work also in this in the past, but also in this year, and yes, is commonly performed on with collaboration for the high energy physics experiment at CERN, for example, and also, for example, another experiment here that I want to show is in Japan for the accelerator, of course. And we worked a lot on the crystals that are a part of the detection of radiation used in several experiments of CERN, for example. And in our laboratory was studied as the resistance of this kind of crystals to radiation, as well as the improvement of the composition of the same crystal to improve their radiation, for example, resistance, or the performance of the scintillation chain. Other materials that we investigate usually are also optical coupling materials that are used for a different kind of optical chain to application in space or energy physics, of course, and also another field, for example, semiconductor, optoelectronic, and so on. And the material investigated are, for example, adhesive, glues, resins that are very widely used, of course. Also, this kind of material can be damaged by radiation in sense of optical properties, for example, but also from mechanical point of view. And just in this period, we are working, for example, with a collaboration with another Italian university with a PhD that is working on the mechanical properties of particular resins. And we can perform also the aging of under UV or under particular atmospheric condition, for example. Another class of material that we usually investigate is glasses. In this case, for example, I showed just an application of glasses that have to be used for space or for nuclear application. And one of the problems with this kind of system is the darkening of the material due to radiation, because the darkening is due to the formation of a particular defect, that is the color center, that can absorb the visible light. So you can imagine that if you have to use this kind of material on a satellite, for example, for some inspection analysis, you can't use this, the material that are not radiation resistant. Another application that we work together with Professor Sharma in the past, for example, was another application of glasses used for a safe nuclear fuel disposal, but of course Professor Sharma could then also explain you all the measurement that we performed. And in this case we characterized the glasses with different techniques, also by ESR, for example. Other glasses that, for example, we investigate was particularly photochromic glasses that can change the coloration as a function of the absorbed dose, and they can be recovered completely after thermal bleaching. And this kind of material could be used, for example, for dosimetric system or data memories or optical lenses. And another kind of glass was, for example, the photochromic glass that, depending on their composition, can be show different coloration, and they are investigated to produce white LED, for example, and we tested also in our laboratory. I'm just giving you an overview of our activities, of course. And here I summarized just some interesting activities for space application, because as you know, in the next decades, we work a lot on space due to the intention to colonization of the moon, for example, and also to the mission to the outer space and also to Mars. And in this period, we are working on different aspects. So, of course, on the study of optical coating on glass substrate modified by radiation, but also on the properties, shielding properties of the powder that you can find on the moon on Mars, that is the regoliths. We are also working on refrigerant fluids and studying their behavior under irradiation for the cooling and conditioning system for the international ISS and for moon colonization, or for other monitoring, radiation monitoring system and dosimetric system, and on composite material, and so on. Another class of material that we are involved in is the study of the effect of radiation on the polymer, both synthetic and natural polymeric material. In particular, we investigate the effect of the direct effect of radiation that, depending on the dose, can produce the cross-linking, so the formation of polymeric materials starting from monomers, for example, or the degradation of the polymeric material at high dose usually. And this process is influenced by different parameters such as atmospheric condition, irradiation parameter, and so on. And in this case, we can also study the indirect effect, because also the free radicals that are formed during the radiation inside the polymeric matrices can react also after the end of irradiation. And this is very important because the effect would be also a long-term effect. One of the example of the material, polymeric material, on which we are involved is in the field of cultural heritage, is the effect of radiation on cellulose-based material. Cellulose is a natural polymer. So our purpose is to improve the conservation and preservation of archived material and historical books, for example, and so on, attacked by biodeteriorating agents that are, for example, insects, chewing insects, or mold or microorganisms that can, of course, deteriorate also the ancient book and so on. And by gamma radiation, it's possible to stop this degrading process without damaging the material. But is also for this, in this case, it's very important to choose the exact irradiation condition, and so we are working on this aspect. Another polymer that we are working in the last period is biopolymers. In particular, we produced edible film for food packaging made of protein and saccharide, in particular using rice protein. And this is very important also for the waste reduction, of course, and also for application in space. And finally, just other two different applications for the use of radiation to improve the reinforcement of the tires using carbon-based material, for example, carbon black in this case, or the irradiation of carbon black before the deposition of catalysts, usually platinum or palladium, on for polymer electrolyte fuel cells that are the system that produce energy. And other application in a completely different field are related to agriculture and environment. And we work together with other colleagues, for example, on the SET technique, that is the sterile insect technique, that is a biological control of pest insect that can damage very heavily also. For example, here we have an images of palm tree completely destroyed by this insect. And by radiation it's possible to control and reduce the population of these pests. Other treatment of agricultural products regard, for example, some irradiation, low dose usually, for mutation breeding to obtain a variety of high resistance, and that can also adapt to the climate changes, for example, in some part of the world, and also for phytosanitary treatment that is like a quarantine that ensure the safe of the food that can we also use after the harvesting of the vegetable or fruit. And here just two other applications which we used also the electron spin resonance spectroscopy, and one was, for example, the dating of some particular coral from Barbados Island that was used for with the gamma rays. The radiation and the ESR was used to check and to measure their ages. And the food irradiation that, as you know, is suggested by FAO and other international organizations to reduce waste and to ensure safety of the food. And by ESR is also possible to check if some food is irradiated or not. And we are work also with some Italian private company for the preparation of the meteorological reference sample for example, paprika, irradiated paprika or other foods and spice usually. And yes, the last two slides is about two strange applications, but very challenging. That is the agrospace, and we are working on different projects with the other colleague, aiming at study the effect of radiation of in vivo system, such as two different kind of vegetables, in this case a kind of salad and a kind of tomatoes, because the interest is to improve the diet of the astronaut, also for the thinking on the long mission to Mars, and for the colonization of the moon. So we are working also on this kind of aspect. And the last one, always related to space. We are working on the astrobiological field, studying the effect of radiation on different kind of microorganisms that can be very resistant also to radiation, so can also be found in space, and that can have a particular ability. For example, can produce some compounds, for example, melanin, that can shield from radiation, or under radiation can also produce concrete, so practically calcium carbonate that can be used as a shielding. So very different application, as you can see. And I finished, and I would thank for you, all of you, for your attention.
Really excellent, Alessia. Like even I'm spellbound because you have really expanded this facility to a great heights. Really, it is very different.
It's a very large, just yes, an overview of the activities, because
but
yes,
the whole plant renovated and everything, and expansion of the facilities to so many areas. Really remarkable. Like, I'm sure Stefania should be so proud of you wherever
yes, but Stefania began, and so we can continue.
Yes, but I'm sure that if she would have been alive today, she would have been really said that you have been remarkable director. Really,
yeah,
so proud of you. Dear students, it is an excellent informative talk that you can see that how radiations can be used in so many peaceful ways. As we talk in the class, that to kill the organism, the insects, like they can damage the environment, food preservation, and then to restore the historical books. Maybe because we told you that we are heritage college, we have many books.
Yes,
which we need to restore, because it has been part of, like, we have a complete historical section where the old books are stored.
Yes, so, because very often also for
pictures,
condition of high humidity, they can easily damaged. Yes,
exactly. So I'm sure students will be having many questions. So please don't feel hesitate. Otherwise, I have received some on my phone. I will start picking from them. Anybody from the audience, if they want to ask a question, please unmute themselves. Or otherwise, you can raise your hands and we will put you to the spotlight. Anybody from this? I can see someone. Okay. So then otherwise, I've received some on my phone because they are sending me personally. So one student has asked that how often you change the water of the pool, and how you destroy, how you damage.
It's not necessary. It's not necessary to change the water of the pool, because the system that we have can every day can treat the water. We have a filtering system and so on. So it's not necessary to change all the water. Also because there are several cubic meters, so yes, it's not possible to change it. So with the system, we always have very clean water and ionized water. There is just for the evaporation, of course, you can lose some water, but you have a refilling system. But the water also that you use for the refilling is treated before, so it's completely ionized and clean.
Okay. So the second question was about the insects, like the insects who you sterilize them and then back to the system. So how much total dose an insect can absorb without dying?
It depends on the insect. For example, for the insect that I show you that are pests for palm trees, that is Rhynchophorus ferruginous, is a very big insect, is very resistant to radiation, and my colleague tried also, was able to kill it, but the purpose of the technique was just to sterilize the male without kill them.
Okay,
Yes, but usually for this the sterilization we use some tenths of grays usually. But yes, of course, the dose of kilogray can completely kill the insect usually. Also, for example, for cultural heritage, you have to find also a compromise, because you don't have to damage with the radiation the book, the ancient book. Yes, you have to kill the microorganisms, the insect, but for insect, around 5 kilogray is enough. And the paper, the cellulose was not damaged, especially if you use particularly atmosphere. Without oxygen is better, and the polymer material are usually less damaged by radiation at the same dose.
Okay, so one more question I'm getting, because they're sending me on phone, so it's okay. Like, we are in touch regularly through the classes. I'm getting their WhatsApp messages.
Yes.
So the last question they're asking is that when we irradiate food to preserve it and store it, is it safe for us to consume it? Like, is there some contamination of radiation?
Of course, no, because by gamma source you can't have pair production, so you can't induce radiation inside the material that you treat. For this reason, it's very, very safe. And as you can see, you can think also that you use gamma radiation for the sterilization of medical device that you use. So they are completely safe, of course, because this kind of energy of the cobalt is not able to induce radioactivity. To induce radioactivity in the treated material, you can use or other kind of radiation, such as neutron, for example, or also cobalt, but with the high energy, not the energy of cobalt-60. So we are sure that no radiation is induced.
Okay. Now, I have just one or two questions from my, because I saw the new plant for the first time myself. So
yes.
as I could see that you have now various rods, right? Linearly arranged in the one array, so.
Yes.
So I have to get, because when we used to work, you might recall that we used to work till maximum 100 kilogray and so on. So if we decided to have some lower bit radiations, how you manage the rods? Do you pull out
the source is the same. We use the shielding. For example, when you do also the wall of LED, is two line of LED, and in this way we reduce a lot of the radiation behind the shielding that we build. So, but the source is the same. We don't modify the source. Yes, it's too complicated. It's better.
Yes, it's too complicated.
Suitable shielding.
I was wondering where is that top, because to change the source, I never witnessed during my visits in all these years.
It's very difficult.
Very difficult.
Yes. Of course.
Often in my class, I talk about that LED glass. Maybe Dr. Neetu can recall our discussions on that LED glass window, which separates the control room as well as the radiation source primarily. So that you can visualize it, and still the application of LED, it is so difficult to replace LED because of the excellent shielding properties.
Yes, it's the best material to be used for this kind of specific application. Of course.
Any other questions from the students or difficulty? Otherwise,
someone is asking that whether they can go for PhD at the.
Yes. Can they do PhD with you? There is a question in the chat box. You can see how we can go for PhD in physics under you, ma'am. It should be you, but you is missing.
For the PhD?
Yes, for the PhD. How they can join?
Usually we, if we have a project, we can organize a PhD paid, for example, by ENEA. But usually we work in collaboration with different university. Also, for example, in this period, one of the PhD student from the La Sapienza University of Rome is in our, yes, because they can work at ENEA. They are host of our institution, but the PhD is from one of the university.
Okay.
For example, these PhD student work in our facility and also in Canada in another facility during the PhD. But we can host PhD students.
Just like Dr. Neetu, she worked like a part. She never came to ENEA, but she completed her PhD with all this work of alkyl borate and so on.
Yes, also because ENEA.
This way it can be done. You can join at KMV and then you can.
Yes, we can organize.
Yes, we can organize the visit. So
yes.
we also, it is possible.
Even our students like Ruchika and Sandeep.
Yeah, Ruchika was there with Mauro. And last year Sandeep was there.
Speaking of her PhD work and all that.
Yes.
Within the scope of the PhD work.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So some of our students, they have joined the ICT through ICTP. They have joined Dr. Mauro for the a couple of years.
Yes,
programs we can revive. We can be more interactive. We can come back to this Calliope plant facility. One question I have gotten phone again, that how much radiation that lead glass window can absorb. I don't think so. You have
all the
radiation.
The windows that we have at the plant absorb all the radiation because otherwise we cannot stay in the control room during the irradiation in the cell.
It's the same glass, right? When I was
is a five slice, like more than 10 centimeter of lead glass. Yes, coupled. So it's more than 1 meter of glass, totally.
Okay, so if I'm not wrong, then that glass is supplied by Saint-Gobain, right? So when
yes, probably yes, because I wasn't there. Yes, because it was changed once during the age.
Yes, I know it's only changed once.
Yes.
We often used to see that broken glass, right?
Yes,
broken glass
we have it, the broken windows in our before the internal.
Yeah, in the hall there used to be broken windows.
Yes, with the three ramifications. Yes.
It will be very interesting to observe if we can compare, like Dr. Voljavan is there, he works in the nuclear waste and so on. Dr. Voljavan, if he can calculate how much irradiation one broken window of the lead it has absorbed.
Yeah, it depends on the cracks that are there.
You have the expert. Yes.
Yes, and then how because totally environmental concern is to replace lead, but still the control windows and so on, like they have the lead.
So it shouldn't be much increase because the cracks are not massive, so no one can pass his hand through.
Yes.
Yeah. Otherwise, it will be bad.
Yeah.
The small cracks will not add much.
Okay.
Anybody else wants to ask any question, or otherwise we can propose a vote of thanks, because I can see Alessia has got a little bit irritated throat and she managed with a cup of coffee on her side. Coffee, which I missed really very badly.
Yes. No more.
So for this I can request my head of department, Mrs. Parminder Kaur, Chima, to please extend a formal vote of thanks to Dr. Alessia Cemmi for her really, really valuable time to us. To you.
Thank you for the opportunity, and I hope that very, very soon we'll collaborate.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gopi.
Thank you very much.
I, Parminder Chima, on behalf of Kanya Maha Vidyalaya and PG Department of Physics, would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to our resource person, Dr. Alessia Cemmi from Italian National Agency for New Technologies, Italy, for sparing her valuable time to interact with our students. It indeed was a golden opportunity for faculty as well as for students to explore such a high-tech lab with such vast applications, which we could only dream of while sitting in India. It was a lovely interaction with a lovely person with such high credentials. Indeed, an excellent exposure for all of us. I also thank Dr. Michael Azovan and Dr. Alex to join us. Thank you so much, sir. We are also thankful to our worthy ma'am principal to provide us these opportunities where even sky is not the limit. I would like to also thank my colleague, Dr. Gopi Sharma, who has taken this initiative and provided us this flavor of international research and labs. Thank you all, and bye-bye till we meet again. Thank you so much.
Grazie, grazie Alessia, grazie mille.
Grazie, Gopi.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Thank you, students,
Bye.
for your interaction.
Thank you, Dr. Ajuman. Thanks a lot. See you on 24th and 17th also, if you like. It will be spectroscopy. It will be in Raman spectroscopy. Thank you, guys. Arrivederci. Arrivederci, Alessia.
Ciao, arrivederci.
Arrivederci. Ciao.
Ciao.